Hello and welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. On this program, we discuss issues around politics, policy, and governance. I am Shafi'u Suleiman. The political crisis rocking the oil-rich River State as a result of the fight for the soul of the state between the immediate past governor of the state, Wike, and his political godson, the incumbent governor, Siminalaya Fubari, appears to have defied the 8-point political solution brokered by President Bola Tinubu at the peak of the face-up. While the two political gladiators, Wike and Fubara, returned to the trenches and resumed hostilities, using their loyalists at both state legislature and the executive branch, political observers are watching with keen interest how this Roforofo fight shaped the 2027 political calculations. Now that the seeming political generalissimo of the Rivers politics and Minister of the FCT Nyesom Wike has consolidated his grip on the soul of the PDP after the survival of his perceived hitman at his helm of affairs. The party's presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Atiku Abubakar, is also reviving his network with Monday's meeting with his former running mate and Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi and a host of others. It is against this backdrop we'll be engaging with a political affairs analyst, Engineer Chukwudi Ezekwelu. He's also a former whip, a member of State House of Assembly. He joins us at the studio to examine the issues and their implications on governance in the state. We'll also be interfacing with Comrade Darlington Wauju, the APC spokesperson in River State via Zoom from Port Harcourt, to give us more insights on the lingering face-up. Thank you for joining. But before we commence the conversation, here are some tidbits. Paul Ibe, the spokesperson of the 2023 People's Democratic Party presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, has accused the Minister of Federal Capital Territory Nyesom Wike of pursuing personal interests at the expense of the party's collective goals. Ibe stated this while featuring in a podcast released on Saturday. Ibe's comments come in the wake of the political tension between Wike and Atiku, which was said to have contributed to the exit of Peter Obi from the party and his subsequent emergence as the Labour Party's standard bearer. While addressing the circumstances surrounding Obi's departure from the party, Ibe stated that Atiku did not orchestrate the split. And meanwhile, members of the organized labor have shut down the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC) head office in Abuja over the hike in electricity tariff. The Nigeria Labour Congress (NLC) and Trade Union Congress (TUC) have also shut down offices of distribution companies across the nation. The unions had earlier given a deadline of May 12 for the upward review to be cancelled. However, since the federal government did not comply with the demand, the labor movement mobilized their members to picket NERC and discourse. We'll now take a short break. When we return, our conversation commences. Stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. And now the conversation about to commence. Let me get Darlington, if you're there. Darlington, you happen to be very much familiar with this development in River State. Particularly, this is where you reside. Give us a feel. Okay, before then, we took two tidbits. One has to do with the spokesperson for Atiku Abubakar accusing, Nyesom Wike of orchestrating, the exit, if you like, of Peter Obi from the PDP. Let me get your take on that, and then subsequently the other tidbit before we look at our main topic. Darlington, are you there?
Well, good evening. Yes, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Now, if I got you correctly,
yes. Go ahead.
For the statement of Paul Ibe Well, I do not know so much about what happens within the PDP settings. So it might be difficult for me to play the role of a mind reader or a soothsayer.
Oh, okay, so you wouldn't want to come.
However, is well known in the political environment. So I think it's purely a PDP issue, which I cannot delve into since I do not actually know the nitty-gritty of what is involved. So I might be completely out of touch with what you are talking about.
Okay, let's look at the second tidbit. We talked about the picketing, if you like, of the NERC, that is the regulatory commission by labor unions in Abuja and across other states of the Federation over this tariff hike. What's your take on that? Darlington?
Well, the good thing is, even in Port Harcourt, the outing of the office of the distribution company here in Port Harcourt today. However, I would like to say that Mr. President has been able to respond to public clamors, if you like, or public agitations, and he has always responded very well and timeously. I do believe that there is every need for genuine government intervention in order to see to it that the issues of the challenges with power distribution and indeed generation in this country is sorted out once and for all. Do not forget that we've been having challenges over the years, even during the Obasanjo years when over $16 billion was invested in the power sector. Now, that has been a teething problem. It has been a challenge over this. Even it might not be something rocket science, but it will need deeper commitment on the part of government.
Oh, okay.
And to ensure that generation, and I think that with the electric business, more investors will come into the electricity sector and see to it that the Nigerians are able to buy power at very affordable rates, and power also will be available.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll come back to you on the main topic, but let me get Engineer Chukwudi's take also. On the first one, yes, you happen to analyze affairs of political parties, and you're also a politician of a sort, having been a former State Assembly member.
Yeah, thank you so much, Suleiman. On the assertion of Atiku via his spokesperson, if you look at the activities that surrounded that heralded the PDP primaries and what actually happened in those periods, you will see that he may not be totally incorrect in making that assertion, because as the primaries approach, I'm from Anambra State, same from Peter Obi. I'm not a PDP person, but we watch very closely because we are all of the whole matter was of interest to everybody. Towards the primaries, during that they were selecting the delegates that will go for the primaries. You can't believe that the whole Anambra PDP structure was totally overhauled, overturned, and the people that will eventually emerge as delegates were the people that are opposed to Mr. Peter Obi. So that if he had gone even into that primary, if from his own state he may not even get more than his own vote and vote of one or two others.
Who must have overhauled the structure?
You know, at that time we don't need to mince word about it. The structure of Nyesom Wike was in charge of the PDP at that point in time, and those people that were even the people that were picked or that ran the show in Anambra were people that are totally loyal to Nyesom Wike. By the time Nyesom Wike came to Anambra State for a campaign, he just came to rain some sort of he came for a kind of an intimidation, both with money and with the structure that are in place. That even after that, even the people that are even supposed to be P2B's home ground had a kind of a press conference and others advising Peter to that he should even step down and support Nyesom Wike. Apart from that one, for Nyesom Wike and co to move that the president should be zoned to the
I'm actually
south.
coming to that because that was the assertion made by Paul Ibe. He said the concern of Wike was that there's need to microzone it.
Yes.
I mean there's no need for microzoning to southeast. It should just be made south. That way he will be able to, you know.
That's a fact. There's no being political about it. We're very clear that if you are zoning and South are taking his own turn on the presidency by General Jonathan, definitely the only zone that is left within the South is the Southeast. And then we all heard article loud and clear before that primary said, if the presidency is microzone to the South, that he will step down and support the South.
That's exactly what Ibe said.
And so what he's saying is, I totally agree with him that it's a line directly and indirectly. He pushed him out into the Labour Party, and that's what happened.
Okay, very quickly before we leave that and talk about the picketing, you know, today we happen to see also a surprise visit, if you like, or the first visit after the election by Obi to Atiku Abubakar. You know, he's meeting him for the first time after the election. Some say, you know, they're looking at the permutations around 2027. You know, as former running mate, 2019, perhaps there could be some sort of alignment. Do you see it in that direction?
Well, politics has so much to do, is dynamism, and this may not actually be the first time meeting him after the election, but maybe this may be the first open one. But whatever be the case, politics is dynamics, and then anybody could play it the way he feels best as everybody prepares for the future election. You know, every politician after an election starts preparing for the next election. Surely, I've also listened to Professor Pato Tommy and so many others talking about the issue of forming a kind of a mega party to wrestle power from APC 2027. Those things may all be part of the permutation that they are doing currently, and I think in Nigeria it's better we do the permutation, do the Georgia, you know, alignments and realignments. At the end, 2027 is still very, very far away. Nobody can determine what exactly will happen then. Nobody even know who will be alive at that time and point in time. Right, but it's good that politicians have in mind. I won't even surprised to see even Atiku Obi and others from in mind with President Tinubu and others and Congress and others, because Nigeria actually needs the concession of our political leaders towards healing the Nigeria that is, you know, nose diving into serious crisis currently. So all of the major stakeholders should come together, start reasoning among themselves how to rescue Nigeria from the predicament we find ourselves in.
That is a sort of consensus Nigerians want. That's exactly consensus towards addressing the problems of the country. Exactly
that.
Okay, let's look at the picketing. You know, the labor movement. They've made their threat, you know, very, very right today by ensuring that they picket, you know, the NERC and shut down a number of discourse. Do you see that, you know, in the light? I mean, in the right direction?
To me, I've been a serious unionist from the movement. I'm a part of the labor in the past, and I've even started accusing the labor union recently of not being proactive, not living up to its expectations, because the suffering Nigerians are going through is becoming so unbearable. Since the time of the removal of the first subsidy and all those, and then the floating of the dollar, currency, and then everybody's now in a mess. There's no more middle class in Nigeria. The poor are suffering more and more.
Either you are poor or you are rich or you are poor.
That's just the thing. Now, that particular move they started today is a step in the right direction, and I think they even started it late. I don't think that government is being sensitive. By at this point in time, we are suffering very massively from the effect of its own policies on removal of fuel subsidy and then floating the dollar. You now and with insecurity in this country, you're now going to increase the tariff of the electricity that is not even available. What I'm thinking that the federal government should be more concerned about is how to fully generate power, because we are being cheated. In fact, we are being cheated and fraudulently manipulated by these power generators and distributors, because most time we pay for the power we don't enjoy. What the federal government should do, discuss with this discourse and other in area of power generation and distribution, is how do we make the power available to Nigerians? When it has become fully available, you can now be talking about the issue of tariff and other things that will now follow.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We have to go back to Darlington to commence our conversation on the topic. Darlington, if you are there, give us a feel, what is happening in Port Harcourt. I understand a number of things have happened. The latest one on the table is, of course, the resolution, if you like, or the resolve by the governor to probe, his predecessor and his godfather, Nyesom Wike. His 8 years of office is going to be under probe. What does this tell, with respect to this 404 fight between these two?
Well, let me say this, that...
Darlington, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you loud.
Just with the connectivity. Okay, let me put that question to you.
I think there's a coincidence of history.
All right.
I can hear you.
Go ahead.
I can hear you. I can hear you. I think it's a coincidence of history. If you would recall, the immediate past governor of Rivers State,
I have issues with the sound there. Okay. Right. Okay. While that is being sorted out, let me get your take on that same question.
My brother, what's happening in Rivers State? I will not say it's surprising.
State of government assessed by the administration.
And it happened in Lagos State between current President Tinubu and the Fashola, then between President Tinubu and the Ambode. It happened in Edo State between the
current governor and his deputy.
And then the House was
happening in Kanu.
In fact, it happened in Anambra State in 2006-2007. It's happening in so many places. It happened in Enugu State between Chimaruke and Sullivan, and then in so many other places. So it's not new.
So, but why is it happening? Let's get to know. I mean, why should a successor, a supposed godson, fight his godfather? Like we said, don't break the ladder. If you break the ladder, some other people who want to go up.
Yeah.
So, why should this be happening?
Well, to me, the problem that we have that usually leads to this godfather-godson fight in power is that the nature of the Nigerian constitution, the nature of the power it confers on the governor and the president of Nigeria is godlike. It makes the governor is like a demigod, like the president. The powers are too much that even if you carry a senseless fool and put there, somebody who does not have a spinal cord and put there, by the time he experiences the power and people around explain to him the power that are clever and available to him at that point,
he can do and undo.
He will just, by the time somebody becomes a governor and he just a stroke of the red pen, bam, this one happens. He speaks, it becomes law. Whatever he had the power for life and death in his hand. My brother, immediately in Igbo, there's an Igbo saying that after you have put on the masquerade, the first person they are giving the cane, this person who is a flog are those that are around him that even put the masquerade on him. Because by that time the masquerade has assumed some powers. And in the Nigerian case, the governors, the powers that the governors wealth is overwhelming. It's quite unlike in other climes where you can use other instruments to control it. But in Nigeria here, and the worst person to ever give power is that man that has not tested power enough, that does not have the mental capacity and the ability to understand that that's not properly educated. That's the worst person to give power. Or person that we feel is quick and humble. My brother, if I want to give power to somebody, I find the most competent person and agree on terms with the person and stay away from. If you want masquerade not to flog you, immediately you put on the masquerade, give him the cane, go to the back.
Okay, in this case, Wiki has stayed away. The fact that he's current minister of FCT, for instance. Yeah, except for the structures and what have you. You are talking about the enormity of the powers of the governors. But what this fight is telling Nigerians is there's a limit to what even these governors can do. For instance, the whole thing was put around the overbearing nature of the political godfather. For instance, accusing him of not allowing him to, of accusing him of trying to, take from the corpus of the government and what have you, in a way. Are these legitimate concerns?
Yeah, thank you so very much. The problem usually starts when the seeming godfather becomes very overbearing. And by the time becoming overbearing, that the governor feels he can no longer breathe, can no longer enjoy the powers that the person that is breathing down on his neck has enjoyed in his own time. It becomes a problem.
To take a statement from Pubara, say, I cannot govern on my knees. Perhaps this is justifying what you're trying to say.
Nobody can govern on his knees. And now let me tell you something. Governor Nyesom Wike, during the time he was governor, in so many fora, made it very clear that he cannot be part of people that will put somebody in office and tell him how to govern. In so many fora, if we go back to the internet and bring it out, in fact, in more than 10 different fora, he made a statement on live TVs, on campaign grounds, and other people that if he makes a governor, he arranges the governor to govern. So, and I think...
But also quote him anyway, I don't want to interject. Yes. I wanted to quote him too.
Yes.
He also said that, in everything there are rules.
Yes.
In politics there are rules.
I agree.
And there are certain things you have to do.
Yes.
You must do.
Yes.
And there are certain things you cannot do.
Yes.
And all of that. So,
because there are rules, a godfather should know that he has a limit. A line must be drawn. And you don't cross certain places that are red lines. Let me tell you when I knew that there are going to be crises in River State. Immediately after the inauguration, when the list of appointees, commissioners and others were announced, that's when I know there are going to be a war. Because if you look at the list of the commissioners that were announced, almost all the appointees were Wike's own appointees. It was his former schools that came back as Fubara's schools. That's when I knew there are going to be crisis.
Okay.
Because if you are a political watcher and an experienced politician, you will know that if somebody now surrounds you with his own cronies that are very loyal to him, not to you, you know they will not allow you to breathe.
Perhaps.
That even some of them will even be insulting you because they will feel that they could have been the governor and not you. Because during those periods, those people that are like his Fubara's appointees were senior to him in the government. And just like by the time you now appoint an IG of police, and you do not retire those that are senior to him, or Army General do not retire those that are senior to him, there's going to be conflict in the line, and that's what the issue is. Yeah, so I think that yes, there are rules of engagement. The rules of engagement does not include...
Agreement is agreement. Perhaps there could be some under...
there are certain arguments that may have been done under duress. Under duress.
Okay.
When you want to become governor, even you, Suleiman, when somebody wants to make you governor, you're looking at that seat of the governor, and whatever they say, you agree. By the time you go there, you see that some of the things you have agreed to are not workable. Because there are those that are also their own people. And you know that every governor, every elected officer, immediately after he has been announced and declared winner and sworn in, he's thinking about the next election. And by that time, it becomes the problem that's become is that if you are thinking about the next election, you know that structure becomes very important. As a politician, that have served so many years before contesting the election,
So you now realize it is important to grab,
this,
to take control of the structure.
You must take control of this party structure. Party structure. And that party structure is the word we can say it should live for him. Maybe if they had decided to share very well that you have some, I have some, so that you can give me at least a minimal guarantee that the second tenure is realistic.
Yes.
But if you put it in such a way that you have to almost decide 100%, the man will start fighting on time. And let me tell you something. I even see Fubara as a very cool-headed person.
Well,
and yes, I see what.
But it appears that the Tea Party is over. It's also taking full charge now with the latest development. Some will say must have grown. And to also begin to show that yes, he can buy it. Asking the newly sworn in Attorney General of the state, to open the books, for 8 years. There is need for probe and all of that. Yeah,
you see, do you know one thing I respect about that man is meek, calm and quiet. But I think he is very experienced politician and rugged. They say he's a civil servant before, but I want to believe if he's a civil servant, he's been a political civil servant. If you watch when the crisis started gradually, and by the time they went to Mr. President called to make a truce between them, when they accepted, he accepted the whole
political resolution.
He accepted the whole terms and did not quarrel. He came back and said, because Mr. President have said this, I will do it. That was a political master stroke. Mr. President, I respect you. And because of you, I will do that. And then when he accepted that, then he now started complaining. Mr. President, I am doing my own bid, but my godfather is not doing his own part of the bid. That was when I also know. And he used that intervention of Mr. President to buy time for himself as a smart politician. And he bought time and also calmly allowed his Oga to make some critical political missteps. Hitting those he shouldn't hit for whatever reason, fighting those he couldn't fight for whatever reason, and all those stakeholders that have been trying to have their pound of flesh on Nyesom Wike now congregated around Fubara. This time it's no longer Fubara's fight. The people that are involved in this fight are quite bigger. The stakeholders that have been run out of power for so long are now congregating behind Fubara to get their pound of flesh.
What you are saying, in essence, he now has the full backing of some political bigwigs. He had
full backing of political bigwigs, not only in Rivers State, but even outside, including those that Wike has stepped on their toes in Abuja and other things are done. Everybody now moving around to now get a pound of flesh all around him. For the guy to have smartly, first of all, when the House of Assembly made the terrible mistake they made. Because if I, as a politician, if I am the leader of those groups, like Nyesom Wike, I will not allow those House of Assembly members to cross over to APC. They should have been in the PDP are doing what they're doing, and if they are in PDP doing what they are doing, Fubara cannot breathe very well if that is the case.
But the heat there will not allow them to remain.
Which heat?
Perhaps they have to leave.
How?
The fact that the leadership has already been taken over by loyalists of Fubara, they are also worried.
If they have remained there and the other things are done, it may not have been the way. The reason why Fubara could have his way is because they moved and the PDP as a body, as a party became threatened from the top to the bottom. If they have remained and have been playing this for small, gradually, the PDP structure may still be under the control of Governor Nyesom Wike.
Right. Okay, we'll talk about the APC involvement because it's also very obvious. Now, you talked about the resolutions, the 8-point resolution of Mr. President. There was concern from the Wike group that Governor Fubara is not, has been implementing, but hasn't implemented the key resolution they want, perhaps returning the budget for another legislation and all of that. I don't know why there's so much interest in these, the appropriation. There are concerns around, the impact of Naira and Kobo in all of this fight. Perhaps.
Sure. Now, which one is political fight if Naira and Kobo is removed from it? Even some people will not even want to be governor or president if Naira and Kobo is removed from it and people to go and work. The main essence of the power is whether that power is to have the coffers under your control or the majority of it under your control. Let me tell you something. As I said, let me go back to this misstep of the defecting to APC.
That's the first mistake.
Immediately they defected, I know they've lost the matter. As a smart politician, Such happened in Anambra State, that happened in other places. Maybe they may think because Ebonyi State own case, when Umahi was the governor trying to run for president and they moved, they may think, okay, Ebonyi State people survived it, and maybe a few other people survived it. No, but they forgot that those people that survived it were able to survive because they were doing that thing during the electioneering period. There's
a transition.
Transition going on. So there was so much distraction from that particular perspective. Immediately they moved. I know what the Constitution said, and the Supreme Court has over and over again given a judgment that once you move as a legislator, you have automatically lost your seat. Immediately they did that, and by the time I saw Fubara accepting them back, I said, this fella is a very sharp man. And the reason why he didn't, if he had given them that particular budget to look into, he was delaying it tactically because he knew he was going to fight.
That the resolution, if you like, that the peace is a peace in the graveyard.
That's exactly what it was. By the time he looked at the law, and immediately something happened, he assembled some of the best brains in legal jurisprudence in Nigeria, and they told him this happened.
Like the current Attorney General, the senior advocate of Nigeria.
Even Farana and so many others have come out to say, these people have made it. Even that time they moved, people were shouting on them. If they were smart, they should have returned back. And if they had returned back, they should have returned his seat, just like what they did in Ebonyi State. But then they saw that.
But when they had the backing of their leader, I've heard Wike said that they shouldn't panic. Nobody can remove.
That's what I'm saying to you. He was maybe overrating the power over authority.
Okay.
The Constitution, the law is rife, is trite on that particular fact.
Explicit,
Very explicit. So he was looking at power over authority, might over right, over justice, over authority.
Over constitutionality.
Over constitutionality. In the long run, constitutionality, authority, legality will always override in the long run. In the short run, power may come, might may come in. But time it happens. I think I was thinking that Wike is a very smart politician, and that he's somebody that have survived via legal jingoism, dynamism. And should have been very careful. He wasn't careful. Both him and his follower were not careful. And I think maybe he wasn't listening to advisors, because if I were around him, there's no how he's my boss, I will allow him to allow those people to move. Because I know immediately they move, they've made a mistake. And along the line, he also now stepped on toes that we are also helping to protect and defend him when such a thing happens. So I think on the issue of the budget, Fubara played a smart one on them to organize himself and get his own background, foundation strong to fight. Because he knew along the line, once you are crossed, you are crossed. And they made a fundamental mistake. If they had just crossed over by verbally, without
making it
formally declaring it officially. By the time you put on the thing now, we know they don't consider it, it was only political statement. We are only playing.
But this one is already established.
So now on the issue of the budget, my brother, the most important aspect of governance in Nigeria is budget. That is in that budget that determines what project, contracts, and others is awarded to who, and what is given to whom, and what is not given to whom. And you know there's a crisis there. There's a major project in university that we can want to continue with the current contractors that are doing it, especially that ring road, and some other projects he wanted him to conclude. That's there.
Secondly, that's why there's so much attention on the appropriation.
Yes, because if you see the volume that is appropriated to that particular area, and some of those things, I know that that first budget, that Wike and team has so much input in that particular budget. So, and the governor may be feeling uncomfortable, and those that are coming in to support him, they also have their own bite of the cake.
So if I understand, the whole fight is around the economy of the of the politics, around it, not for the people.
As far as I am concerned, the fight is political economies. Political economies.
It's not about the people.
Let me ask you a question. Did any of the group have they called the people? What do you want? What is your interest? Most times they do their own thing at the top.
I should ask you that question, but then looking at the other side of the divide, there's also concerns around some of the missteps, legal missteps, if you like, of also the incumbent governor.
Yes.
Just like Femi Falana, SAN, has said that they've actually lost their seats. There's no way they can go back and all of that. He also accused the governor of also, I mean, what he did was also illegal for deciding, if you like, or determining where the lawmakers should stay. Right now, as we speak, they legislate in the government house. You know, even the screening, if you like, or the confirmation they did of the incumbent, I mean the newly sworn-in commissioner was done in the government house. So, either side of the divide have been making mistakes.
Yes, but there's somebody in power as governor. Remember, I told you the powers of the governor to a very large extent in Nigeria is godlike.
But you are talking about the constitutional limits.
Yeah, I'm coming
also
about it. Yes. By the time the governor is in power, there are certain things he can equally use that constitutionality to manipulate in that regard. Remember what happened in Edo State? Have you forgotten what happened in Edo State? Governor Baseki had to mow down the House of Assembly and then scatter their everywhere they are supposed to sit, and they moved to their city to government house. So there's a precedence there. In a much it's not right.
Yes.
But mind you also, if you will remember that the River State House Assembly was a kind of, there was a blast there, and it had been going under renovation.
Is that an excuse?
Political renovation.
Oh well, so you also agree? Looking at this brigandage, political brigandage, some will say, should it be allowed to continue? Because the concern here is a political crisis of high magnitude is brewing.
Yes.
You know, there is serious concern around the safety, even, I mean, the peace and stability of the state.
Yeah.
Elder statesmen like Edwin Clark have been cautioning them, the actors. You know, he recently had to invite the IG to intervene. Because of the crisis, going out of proportion. So, looking at political brigandage like this, in a political democracy we are operating, who will tame the tide? I mean, who would come to rescue? President Tinubu has come up with the 8-point resolution that has failed. So who else?
Thank you so very much. You see, the problem we're having in this country is that we want to learn to import the American system of the American presidential system. We started to import, implement part of it, and they refuse to implement the other one that will keep us in check. And then the brigandage in the Nigerian political system is awful. It's unacceptable, and it should not continue by whatever means. It mustn't continue. And then, but I think that at this point in time, the time has come when the stakeholders should have to play greater role, and they play less pecuniary role in resolving matters like this. Mr. President has made a point, official statement clear. He has made a step to reconcile them. Now when things are getting out of hand, he has also come and said, I'm not taking
no longer going to,
No, he said he didn't say he will not intervene. He said, I am no longer, I'm not going to take side. I'm going to be very decisive in taking decisions about River State, because
is it going to will the big stick? Because that's the most important.
But that's from that statement by Engr, I see that it's like Mr. President wants actually to will the biscuit, and that big stick is what he needed in Nigeria, without fear or favor at this point in time. That need to will that big stick. Now, anybody that have gone foul of the law in the process, where the person has gone wrong, you should be sanctioned for that, despite no matter the person's party affiliation or the interest the person it represents. If we start doing that way, that's when when we can resolve it. And we are also going to look at it, because if we leave the system to continue, let me tell you, the people that Nigeria has groomed now, you know, these people that are in power now, I'll tell you, they're even better groomed than
those coming. Are you foreseeing as doomsday?
If I say if, and if we do not change the foundations, constitutional foundation of our politics, our social politics, currently now, nobody can determine or actually predict what's going to happen with the younger generation, with the rate the younger generation is going into crime, into lawlessness, into those
we are beginning to see a number of things
very
happening,
bleak.
You know?
Yes.
Not long ago, we've seen a governor who went to a house of his predecessor and then rescue him in the face of, security.
Yes, because he has immunity. The time has come, like I said, there's need to constitutionally look into this matter. And let me tell you, I am seriously of the opinion. I totally support those House of Representatives Assembly members that are pushing for Nigeria to go back to parliamentary system of government.
Okay.
This presidential system of government we are practicing, we cannot practice it all.
Why?
Because the excesses that come with it, especially by the time Mr. President has almost unlimited immunity, we don't have unlimited immunity. When somebody has immunity, because it's like God, you cannot do him until he gets out of power. And when he gets out of power, he also has resources and network and have put people in so many places to still protect himself. Some people will even go to court and get perpetual injunction restraining you.
We're beginning to see how difficult it is for a governor to be arraigned, for instance.
So now, do you know that in Nigeria it will be difficult for a Nigerian former president to go through what Trump is going through in the United States of America. So what I think we should do,
what happens,
we should seriously look at 1969 Republican Constitution. Yeah. We should seriously look at going back to that particular Republican
what about strengthening the institutions? Because you talked about US, for instance. Now it's about the institutions. Nobody is above
the institutions is strengthened over the years with laws. Laws strengthen institutions. In Nigerian system here, we build superpowers, mighty men, oligarchies, not institutions. There was a time in America it was mighty men, power men, it was muscle men, it was oligarchs that were running the system. And people started with time that's political renaissance, a kind of a political revolution that was going on. And over the years, don't forget that America is about 200 and something years now.
Democracy.
So what we should have done is that we should have tried to emulate them, because there's no need reinventing the wheel. So they emulate them in that system and then make the political offices less attractive, especially make it less rewarding economically. For instance, why should the governor have security vote? Why won't he be legislated?
It's more like an open check, for instance.
Yes, now for corruption now, all of them got it like like Anambra State is having a crisis in EFCC. So many states are having Orji Zokale was issue of a security vote, Anambra State security vote, and so many others. There are certain things that should be removed from our laws, and then so that it becomes that office should become less attractive. And also the
service
issue
oriented.
Yes, because service oriented. If you look at the First Republic, you will see that by the time they were overthrown, by the time they look into their books, they say that actually not so much was stolen. If you look at what they say was stolen, you will start laughing. Because the system could not allow you to steal much. Right. But by the time the military came, they destabilized the system and institutionalized corruption and stealing and looting of our system, of our political economy, of our common patrimony. And then everything started being enshrouded in secrecy. And by the time there's secrecy in governance, definitely you know that some Muslim men will take advantage of that, and they will see what happened. Happening.
Very quickly, because we're rounding up, the involvement of the APC, so to speak.
Yes.
There has been concerns around that. Even Pubara did cry out, that the APC is meddling into this. Recently, they talked about they did, support, if you like, the Wike faction, saying that he has committed, impeachable offenses and what have you. And perhaps that's why it's also taking another step, to institute probe. So who laughed last? So say, talking about impeachment, and here we have a probe of ATS stewardship.
Well, I would think, my own assessment, that the APC as a party, both in the Rivers State and in the National, did not play matured politics in this case. Right. By the time you see what's happening, or like those in power up, should have realized, except if they wanted Rivers State to have this crisis, that those men will leave so that there will be a re-election in that place. If they have not been playing game on Wike and his men,
about 2027.
That's what I'm saying. They may be playing games on Wike and Co, because they still see Wike as a threat towards 2027. So it is also good for them to help of Afibara indirectly to disempower Wike by getting his structures out of the way, because for them to, they know very well that so many people lost their seat because of this issue of crossing over.
That's right.
And they now accepted them and we're encouraging them. That is like they led them to their own slaughter, which it's in politics. They say everything is fair in politics.
Oh, okay. Finally, how do we get out of the quagmire? Just very quickly, in 30 seconds.
Now, I think what should be done is that it's still there's still time for the two sides to pull their steps backwards.
Okay.
I think Nyesom Wike and Fubara should sit down and talk like matured men.
Right.
I invite with a few stakeholders, tell them the truth. Give and take is the way out of the situation.
Okay.
They shouldn't fight and destroy Rivers State because Rivers State is very critical, very important to Nigeria and to the world economy at large. They should sit down and talk. Mr. President and other stakeholders, both the PDP, APC and others, leaders of Rivers State should all sit down to talk.
Right.
Let them do it a give and take thing.
Yeah.
And finally, those that are thinking they're going to be godfathers forever, please, godfather is no more fashionable. And if you want to be a godfather, go behind because the time has come when Nigeria need their leaders that are their leaders, not the leaders for the godfathers.
Right.
And that's what I think should be the way forward for this situation in Rivers and in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Engineer Chukwudi Ezekwelu, for your informed perspectives on this important topic. We really appreciate it. We hope to have you some other time.
Thank you, Suleiman, and thank you, Daily Trust.
Right, okay. And Comrade Darlington Wojo, even though we had technical issues, we really appreciate also your efforts to join the conversation. And viewers, this is a wrap on today's edition of Daily Politics. If you do join us tomorrow, where we'll be back with another interesting personalities. Until then, on behalf of the technical crew, my name is Shafi'u Suleiman. Many thanks for staying with us.